Good afternoon. This is Jenny Gee coming to you on this January day. Just to talk to you a little bit about some of the amazing things we find out in nature as we're out and about, and just how that points to such a creative God, because nature's cool and it's just things we don't even think about. And I think the more we know, the more we appreciate, and the more we just love to get out there and be in the world. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about woodpeckers. You may be hearing them, or you might be seeing them at your suet feeders if you have suet feeders, or just hearing them out in the woods near and around your house. Some of the common ones that we have in our backyards are the pileated, the big guy. He's about as big as a crow and has the big red crest. We also have downy woodpeckers and hairy woodpeckers. They look real similar. They're black and white stripes. A little more red on the male than on the female, but they have a little bit of red up around their head area. And a big way to tell the difference between a downy and a hairy: downies are generally a little bit smaller than a hairy, but you can have a small hairy and a big downy. So the way that you actually tell the difference is by how long the beak is. Is that beak you're seeing as long as its head, same length, then it's a hairy? Is it shorter? Then it is a downy. So let's talk about some of the really amazing things. Think about questions you might have if you were really thinking about what a woodpecker does day to day. And I have behind me here a lovely hole that is pounded out by I believe that would be a pileated because of its oval shape. I think the hairies and the downies and the red bellies have more of a circular, and but the real big ovals I know for sure are pileated. Anyway, so think about some of the problems that you would encounter if you had a beak and you were going to try to dig into the trees to get your food, to eat up the insects that are inside that tree. So part of it would be you'd wear down your beak, right? And that indeed, with all that banging into the tree, it does indeed wear down. But woodpeckers have specialized cells at the tip of their beak that are constantly regenerating cells of the beak. And so it just, as they pound in, it just gets sharper and sharper, and it stays its nice long length. And that in and of itself is super amazing. So the other thing that would be a problem if you were rat-a-tat-tatting your face against we'll get to the real obvious one in a minute, but if you were doing that, you would kind of throw yourself off balance and go backwards, right? So what woodpeckers are adapted with is very, very stiff tail feathers that they prop up against the tree, and then a very sturdy, heftier than other birds, lower vertebrae bone that is strong and that can help prop them up so that they can do all their rat-a-tat-tatting. If you've ever watched a woodpecker out of a tree, you'll notice that they stay very, very straight. Their body is in a nice straight line, and that is the way that they protect their neck. A lot of the force is distributed downward, scientists tell us, down into the neck muscles rather than up into the head. But they also have other really cool adaptations as far as their head and the bones of their spine and all of that. The bone that's like right between their beak and their skull is joined by like a real flexible cartilage, so that can cushion the shock of rat-a-tat-tatting their face against a tree. And the skull itself is made of spongy air-filled bone, and their brain cavity, their brain is packed real tightly inside of that, so it doesn't get that chance to rattle around. One of the other things that I think, like, we should all just take a moment and think about how cool it is when they do finally create the hole in the tree, then they're trying to like put their beak in and they're digging around to find the insects. And they do that with their tongue. And their tongue can be really, really long. So long, in fact, that it wraps down below their skull, around, like down to the bottom base of their skull, around up to the top, and behind their right eye. Like it literally goes through like around like a roundish tunnel almost within their skull. So that is amazing. The other thing that's really amazing is as they're putting that tongue into the space to get the food, their tongue is barbed so it can puncture the larva or the insects or whatever it is that they're coming upon, and not only puncture it, but their salivary glands are creating this mucus that coats their tongue, and as their tongue is coated, it gets kind of sticky, so they're able to not have that little larva roll away. They're able to stick onto it and puncture it and then bring it back to eat. And a lot of times you'll see, and this is very much the case with this tree here, the tree is not in good health. It's missing bark on the other sides. There's more woodpecker holes on the other side as well. And so insects just fill up that space, and woodpeckers will go in and they'll not only make the hole, but sometimes they'll be pulling the bark back and eating the insects. But such amazing adaptations, such amazing and creative creatures that are on our earth. And it's just so good to revel in God's creative abilities and all of the things that have been placed in front of us, around us, in our own backyards, that we can just sit and be amazed. So I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you get out, enjoy some of the things. If you see some woodpecker holes, just take a moment and say a little prayer of thanks for our amazing creative world. Bye.